And welcome to the No Name Yet podcast. That is the podcast with no name. And on tonight's show is the man that if he eats some eggs, you better go to the next county. Roddy Ramirez.
Yeah. Oh, you messed up. That's all right, man. I don't like my name anyway, which is why I have so many monikers. I really like your intro music, though. The punk rock real.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
energetic. I like it.
Ramirez. That's the first time I think I've sworn on my own show.
Oh yeah, that was cool. I'm glad that you did too.
Well, Roddy, it has been a long time coming that you'd be on the No Name Yet podcast.
Yeah, well,
So for everybody of the No Name Yet podcast, Roddy uh, is or was or continues to be the number one fan for Gritty Knows Best. And as Gritty and Roddy communicated back and forth, they have formed a friendship. And Roddy watches Gritty's show. Roddy has his own podcast. Roddy has watched episodes of my show, and he is a big fan of my anticlimactic stories.
yeah. I really, you have a certain way to you that you remind me a lot of one of my best friends, a cousin of mine.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what your age is, but I don't know, like maybe 10 years older than me. So he's getting close to 50.
Okay.
But he's just, you guys have a very similar way of talking that I just think is hilarious.
Okay. And
Anyway,
I
I
was
did want, before we keep going though, I did want to cheers you. The freaking stupid AI thing. May is blocking my
okay.
beer. I'm gonna open up a beer, a Heineken. Do you like beer?
I used to. I'm an addict, so I don't
Yeah, so
drink
you can.
alcohol.
So you like it too much then.
Well, it wasn't the alcohol wasn't really what got me. It
Mhm.
was some hard
You were
drugs.
into like crack and stuff, huh?
Yeah.
That's
And
rough, man. I've
so
never done any of that,
well,
but I like Heineken a lot.
and you know what it still kind of cracks me up to this day. Like I quit using alcohol when I was taking a particular drug, and the reason why I stopped drinking is because it would mess with that high.
Oh,
So people noticed that I had stopped drinking,
they thought it was a
and
good thing?
they were like, "Wow, you're not drinking anymore." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, it's so disingenuous because I was still getting high. But
Well, it's the same. People have for years congratulated me on how I quit smoking, but it's because I'm poor and I cannot afford cigarettes anymore. So
okay, well, that's probably good anyway.
whenever I get a little bonus, though, I try to buy a pack. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, let me try to dissuade you. And I smoked for a number of years, and I uh, just kept trying to quit, and then after I had stopped smoking for maybe I don't know 4 years, maybe I got the job at the hospital, and then in the ICU, I really started to see firsthand what cigarette smoking did to people, and it's not pretty.
Yeah, I've seen it, but I never smoked that much. I've always
Yeah.
been at my most maybe a pack every 2 weeks.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Maybe less than that. Like maybe at the worst, maybe a pack a week at the most.
Oh
But
wow.
even then,
Okay.
hardly that. It's
Well,
always been very few and far between.
that would have been self-control on my part. But
Yeah,
when I like the last maybe year or so, I was like smoking 5 cigarettes a day,
yeah, that's
and I
crazy.
just couldn't put them down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I can do that if I'm drinking. If we're out getting drunk or something.
Uh-huh.
Before you know it, you already smoke half a pack.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that's as I've gotten older, that's been a lot fewer and far between.
Hmm. So what is your alcohol of choice?
Whiskey.
Okay.
Whiskey. Jameson whiskey is my favorite
All
whiskey.
right.
Irish
That's
whiskey.
yeah, that's pretty stiff stuff.
Yeah. I like, what tastes like Christmas to me is brandy, Presidente with
Oh,
Coke. because
Okay.
that's what all our old parents used to drink for Christmas. So
Uh-huh.
just and it has to be with Coca-Cola paired up in some ice, and that's one of the many flavors of Christmas. I drink
Okay.
Pepsi all year long also, but I have to drink Coca-Cola for Christmas because it's just the flavor of Christmas for me.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool because there are well, I mean, definitely, I mean, for my family, the seven fish is the major flavor for us.
Yeah. I think a lot of families have that. There was always like the one liquor that they bought for specific holidays and kind of stuck with you.
Yeah, if it was liquor, it would be Bailey's.
Bailey's.
Yeah, the seven fish is the Italian meal that we eat
Oh, I
on
thought it was booze.
on Christmas Eve.
Oh, because you're Italian. Are you full Italian?
No, half. My
Half. What's the other
mom's
half?
all Italian. My dad is Irish and French
Oh,
Canadian.
okay. I believe you mentioned that on the episode you just was it this week with the quiz game, the quiz
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
See,
that's right.
because I listen to stuff, I listen to the shows, but I never watch them, so I'll never shoot. I wasn't sure if you were talking about your parents or the other
Oh
couple
yeah.
that was on. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that
that was
cup
a good one. I like that.
oh good, thanks. And Pat from the McDonough side would like to do a quiz show every week.
Quiz shows that you're really good at them. It's really
Thanks.
fun. Yeah,
So,
I want to get on one of those quiz shows with you, and I've always liked that, like like Jeopardy or let's see, the one, Family Feud and stuff. But I feel
yeah.
like while I'm at home, while I'm listening, I know all the answers. But once you're on, like it's different. Yeah,
Yeah, it's different when you're on.
yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. And I'd love to do this again. I had an improv troupe
Mm.
when I lived in Tacoma, Washington, and we there's a an improv game where you you if you're in the middle, you're questioning everybody on the outside of the circle. And you might go, how far is the moon from the earth? And someone might go 2 feet, and you go, correct. And you just whatever people say, you just say it's correct. And so we fashioned a game show around it. And I've done this twice in front of an audience. Is you get somebody out of the audience, and whatever they say, whatever their answers are, is correct. And then yeah, we had two other people who are contestants, and whatever one of you pick the one that's always going to be wrong,
Oh, okay.
and
Regardless of what the answer is, regardless
regardless
of
of
how
the
correct the answer is.
so the guest from the audience, of course, wins. The game
Yeah.
show, and
Oh
it's
gosh.
it's a lot of fun.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, yeah. So you live in Idaho.
Yeah, yeah,
So Idaho is kind of looks like one of those smoking bins outside a business where it's got
yeah. It does have a
a
big base
big
on the bottom
be a big base on
and
and
a
the
big stack.
yeah.
Yeah.
So which part of Idaho do you live in?
So yeah, I've never heard it described like that, but it makes sense. The top part is what they call a panhandle.
The
I live in
Panhandle.
I live, and that's where all the Nazis are, and the neo-Nazis and the KKK. A lot of racism and stuff up there.
Okay.
And so you see a lot of like, I see a lot of TikToks and reels and stuff talking about how Idaho's racist. Like that's northern Idaho. We're in southeast Idaho, where we're a lot more progressive. Still not, it's funny to think about. I feel like the majority of the population is very progressive, but we are still a very red state.
Okay.
Like, I think we all just forget to go vote. And so the red state keeps continuing to be red despite most of its population being a little bit more liberal, I think, than people think or people realize.
Okay. Yeah, I was curious and I've never gotten around to ask because I when I moved to Tacoma, Washington, we rode through the Panhandle, and when I came back home, we rode through the Panhandle again,
Yeah.
through the mountains.
Yeah, because that's up that way. And then Boise's out east. And a lot of people think we're close to Boise, but Boise's like a 6 hour drive from us. We're actually we're closer to Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City is only about 3 hours away.
Oh, okay, all right.
So.
And
Like for shows and stuff, that's where we usually head for like big name shows. As of recently, though, Idaho Falls is growing a lot. We're getting a lot more bigger artists. We have a big is it Mountain America Center where they do hockey every week and they do, big name shows and stuff. So like we're growing in that aspect where we don't have to travel so much for entertainment anymore. But
oh, okay. That's so I'm assuming that you probably can drive less than 20 minutes to a shopping area that has a Target and a Five Guys and a
oh yeah,
Panera.
yeah, that's right in Idaho
Uh,
Falls. I actually live in a town called Roberts, which we're 15 miles north of Idaho Falls. But this is a very small town. Everybody's surprised to know that I have a PO box. They're like, you pay for that? We don't pay for it because it's rather such a small town that they rather have us have PO boxes than have to go around deliver it to us.
oh, okay.
So as long as we can prove residency, we get a free PO box. Like that's how small the neighborhood is here. But it's a 10-minute drive into Idaho Falls. That's the city. That's where everything is. Malls, Target, like I said, all these stores, a lot of eateries and stuff. So
Okay. Yeah, because when they started doing that, all the same, I mean, it's pretty much the same setup, like whatever wherever you go.
yeah, it's kind of gross.
And they completed our mandatory corporate shopping area up on Route 50.
Hmm.
I used to have to drive 15 minutes over to Niskayuna for um, the big I don't know how many stores you say 10, the big 10.
What was it back then? Like Sears and Kohl's or what?
Well, no, it's like not now. It's like Target, Panera, Starbucks. What else? Five Guys,
Yeah.
and
And it's funny
the
because everything you're naming right now is all on the same street in Idaho
yeah.
Falls. It's actually in the Ammons. That I believe that street divides Idaho Falls and Ammon. Like one side is Idaho Falls, the other side is Ammon. But they're all
Hmm.
right down that same street, right? Hit Road,
Yeah,
25th Road. So
yeah. Taco Bell, Chipotle. Um,
yeah,
yeah, there's
that's where the movie theater is. We got a big Edward Cinema, the big one. You
okay.
know, we still have two smaller ones that are a lot less expensive, which is what you try to go to. But
Yeah, I haven't seen a movie up on our main street called Mohawk Avenue, and we still have our second run cinema that's still going strong.
yeah,
During COVID, I stopped by and gave him a 20 just to make sure, just to
just to
contribute
pitch
to.
in. Yeah, it
I,
was crazy.
I didn't want it to go away.
We have the smaller movie theater here that used to only play like older movies like that were out of the big one, but it
Uh-huh.
was always super cheap. It was like $2 to get in or something. And I believe the Suns took over. Don't quote me, I might be wrong, but I think it was just like the Suns took over and they decided to renovate it and they put in all these because it felt like like an old high school the seats were like wood with a little cushion and stuff. They took
Uh-huh.
all that out, put all brand new seats in, new everything, digital this, digital that, and it was right at the end of 2019. 2020 hits, so they didn't know if they were going to survive.
Oh wow.
And but they luckily they survived and now they play, all the brand new movies are there also, and it's still a lot cheaper. I believe adults are like I want to say $8. I know
Oh
when I
wow.
take my daughters, if we go including popcorn, we're still under $30.
Yeah,
Where if
wow.
we go to the big Edwards cinema, it's at least 50.
Right, yeah.
So
Yeah.
so
So
luckily they survived and I love that little Paramount theater.
I know it local there's so little local left.
Yeah.
When you've got it, it's
That's why I
good.
said it's kind of gross that every city you go to is pretty much just the same print of the last one. And if you really want to know a city, I think you got to go into the old town area, into the downtown stuff, because we have a wonderful downtown area with local businesses, local restaurants,
Hmm.
the bars. You go out drinking and you can walk around from bar to bar, and it's really lively and enjoyable.
Hmm.
Daytime is also great. I mean, you take your kids walk around. I take my kids walk around downtown all the time. I don't know. I think that's where the soul of a lot of these cities are.
Yeah, yeah. And I live over the bridge from the city of Schenectady, and Schenectady was in pretty rough shape when I was living there a while back, and over the last 30 years, they've really worked hard um, to bring back the downtown, and at least the 4 or 5 blocks they've focused on, they've done a really great job.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think there should always be trying to keep that downtown spirit alive.
yeah, yeah. I've always hoped, in my lifetime. You mentioned my age before. I'm be turning 30. I'm 30, 57 on Sunday.
I didn't think you were that far ahead.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you look good for your age. It must have been the drugs.
Well, I was so afraid to end up like a prune
Hmm.
that I always moisturize.
You had a good
And
facial routine.
yeah, and especially in Tacoma when I would be out a lot outside
Hmm.
working, and I always put on sunscreen. So I think I mean I could probably be looking a lot worse
Yeah.
without the effort I put into it.
Yeah, that's probably it. You look good for your age. I thought you were about my cousin's age, like close to 50, but not quite there.
Uh-huh.
So you're like 10 years older than him, it sounds like,
Yeah, yeah.
more or less, which is good, man. It's good. You're getting
Yeah.
there. It's crazy.
And so when we were talking briefly coming on the show, you're saying you like living in Idaho?
Yeah, I like it. A lot of people don't like it, but I think it's fine. It's great. For the same reason, it's big enough to where you're not bored all the time, but it's
Hmm.
also small enough to where you still know most of your neighbors and stuff. So
Okay.
I like it. It's like the perfect size. And I was born in Montana and I lived there till I was 6 years old. And that was isolation, living up in the mountain, taking, 2 hours to get to the grocery store and 2 hours to come back.
Hmm.
So it's like, so this place is perfect.
Yeah, yeah. Because I thought that when I was driving cross country, I thought Montana was a beautiful place.
Yeah. And it's
Uh,
beautiful because there's nothing there though.
you know, but the people that built the interstate, play a very cruel joke
Hmm.
when you're going west, and Montana's a very long state,
Yeah.
and you're like, when are we going to get the heck out of Montana? And then I-90 goes north for a long time.
Right when you thought you were out, you still got a little bit more to crawl up. Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the least favorite part of the trip.
Yeah.
And I always joked that Montana's got to do better on
Yeah.
who they put along I-90, because the faces of Montana that I met are not impressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people run up there to hide too. I
Uh-huh.
remember that from living on cattle ranches and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
Okay.
guys running from the law or they're fresh out of prison and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, so it's a lot of outlaw people too.
Okay.
I think it's
Well,
like Australia.
the most remarkable person that I encountered was at a gas station.
Mhm.
And I was, standing here, and he was looking, his head was toward me, but he was looking here. And so I went up to the counter and he didn't say anything. And I said, I'd like to pay for my gas. And he kept looking over here.
Were you kind of like looking back behind you, like who the hell is back there?
And he said, "You want a what?" And I said, I want to, I want to pay for my gas." He goes, "Oh, your gas." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's my gas." And I'm like trying to hand him the money, and he's just standing there. And so I'm like, if I walk out, I mean, is he gonna like run after me if I don't pay for the gas?
Yeah.
And yeah. Oh,
Strange people, man. Do you think
Yeah.
they're inbred?
I don't know. I mean, but this young man had like these piercing blue eyes, and it was just enough to like get give me the creeps.
Yeah. If they were piercing, then it's a good thing he wasn't looking right at you.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
Pierce your brain.
So, what do you do for a day job?
My day job, I work at a pallet construction corporation, you
Okay.
know, which is growing up as punk rock and my parents were a bit more on the hippie side of things, it's really kind of difficult to destroy trees all day.
Uh-huh.
But they say that the way that we do it is actually one of the best ways to protect the forest and stuff. And we do recycle a lot of pallets and we sell all the sawdust we end up throwing through a machine that refines it and that gets sold to different stuff and for like animal bedding and stuff. Whenever new
Okay.
people come in, they ask me what they use that for. I say if whenever you see a food product that says it has more fiber now, like it's just sawdust they add into it, and they all fall for it.
Yeah.
And but yeah, just cutting wood and building pallets all day every day.
Okay. So you're working with your hands?
Yeah, yeah. I do a lot of the repair stuff. So we get old used pallets and I sit there and break off pieces and put new boards on, use a nail gun, do a lot
Okay.
of that. But I also run some of the machines when there's other guys that aren't there that just cut new fresh wood.
Hmm.
A lot of pine. It smells amazing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean it's a good place. That and it's not an enormous corporation, it's local. So I do feel good about that. And
Yeah.
they do treat us pretty well as far as like pay and bonuses and stuff. So
Oh, that's cool.
and it's like, and they're here local. The one thing that almost made me quit, though, I went to the office one time to, I don't know what I was doing in the office, but they have all these because they've been around since 1969, so a little over 50 years,
Hmm.
and they have all these news articles and stuff on the wall of stuff that's happened before. And the old lady, the wife of the guy that started it, she was in the news because she boycotted and she got signatures and she was trying to make sure that the Rolling Stones did not play in Idaho in like in like the 70s. And I'm like, how am I gonna work for a company that's like anti-rock and roll? What the hell?
Uh-huh.
But so that was one of the more stressful parts of my job is to come to terms with that. Like,
Hmm.
and the Suns are actually not like that at all. The guys that run it now, but I'm like, yeah, I should really take that off the wall, man. That's not something to be proud of.
Hey, it's a family history.
It's terrible.
You know, there's always something. There's always something in the past.
In the newspaper for that. She thinks she is as John Lithgow in
Right.
Footloose.
Yeah, yeah. There's a there's this folder somewhere. And it's of all these different pictures and articles of my dad
Yeah,
when he was a policeman in our village. And at that time the town of Glenville didn't have its own police department. And so the Scotia guys would go out into the town, especially like if there was a big accident or a fatal accident. And so there's like all these, all these newspaper clippings of my dad, and they all have like a similar theme. He's there in his like his police hat and his overcoat, and there's a car wreck, and yeah, and then he's got some of these photos accompanying the clippings, and like he saw some pretty gruesome stuff when he was
bad man. Those are tough jobs. Probably saw
yeah.
decapitations and stuff.
I've never asked,
Well, you don't want to ask because
it's
what if
possible.
you might
Yeah,
get PTSD or something.
yeah. I
I
mean,
have
when
a
I,
family member, a cousin. She used to work at the courthouse, and she used to work with like convicting like not child molesters, but like just abusers and stuff. And so she saw a lot of pictures, and I believe some that go into like that CP kind of stuff. And
uh-huh,
she had to quit because it was just too much for her. She'd be going home and having nightmares about either violent stuff or sexual stuff, and about with little kids and stuff, and it was
right.
just too much for her.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's amazing that that kind of work that people do.
Yeah,
Um, So yeah, I kind of turned us down.
Way to bring it down, Pastor.
So you go to work and you come home and you have your podcast. Are there other things that are interesting to you that you like to do or
Yeah, I still I still try to play music as much as I can. I like guitar playing. I'm a lot better at bass. Made a lot of money with my bass playing back, in my 20s. I haven't really been in a band anymore. It takes a lot of your time. And once you have kids, you don't want to spend time away from them especially when I only have them a certain amount of time.
uh-huh.
So that's why I don't really commit to anything like that. But I still enjoy playing music a lot.
Okay.
Anything artsy fartsy, quite honestly.
Uh-huh.
And I used to go to the gym a lot. I haven't gone to the gym a lot lately. It's just, back all through my 20s, I was always working in office jobs or retail, sometimes both at the same time. But you get to a point where it's just, I like my job now because it keeps me fit.
Hmm.
It's a lot more physical than it used to be. And I used to really have to go to the gym, really apply myself to not get super fat at these jobs.
Uh-huh.
But now the job kind of keeps me fit, so I don't do as much of that. But right now, I mean, my social life is the podcast. If it wasn't for the podcast, I'm not sure I would have a whole lot of social life. So
Okay. All right. Um, I'm gonna have to edit this silence out. I just lost my train of thought.
is it because of the dog?
No,
Did you hear the dog?
I did hear the dog. But do you mind if I just step away for a second?
Oh, that's fine.
I'm cooking a spaghetti sauce and I'm catching a whiff of it, and I hope it's not burning.
All right, man, you're good.
Okay. Hold on. Thanks. It was not burning.
You're good to go on that.
Yeah. I just turned it off just so the to lessen my paranoia.
Yeah, play it safe.
I'm having people over tomorrow for my birthday,
Oh, is it your birthday? When's your birthday?
Sunday.
Hey, happy birthday.
Thank you. So I made pasta and um, making the sauce.
That's good. You're gonna have a big cake.
Yeah, they're ordering me a rum cake and then a chocolate cake for people who don't want the rum cake.
Yeah, I've never had rum cake. Does it have rum in it? Or is it just
Uh,
cooked with rum? Or is it just a name?
I'm not sure how this bakery does it. Some actually use real rum and other use rum flavor. So it's kind of like a spongy cake with rum flavor or rum in it.
That's good.
Yeah.
I've always wanted one of those cakes with the ladies in it,
The ladies?
with a lady in it, comes out.
Oh, the put that
Surprise.
jumps out.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I've seen that. I saw that. I guess not so much anymore, but when I was a kid, that was like in every sitcom.
Yeah,
You don't,
yeah, yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
see that anymore.
No, you don't. And you know
Where
what?
have our values gone?
You know what else you don't I don't know if you're old enough. But when I was coming up, um, there was a lot of quicksand in TV
Oh yeah,
shows.
there was all the cartoons, all the TV shows.
Yeah, people were falling into quicksand left and right.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
quick. Grab his branch, find a
yeah.
stick.
And what happened to all the quicksand?
Yeah, yeah. And video games had quicksand in them.
Oh, do they?
They did. I don't know about now.
Okay. Are
Did you
you a
ever play?
game?
Not really,
Oh,
but I used to play a lot when I was a kid. We had an Atari. We used to play Pitfall a lot. Did you ever play
okay.
Pitfall? Jumping over sand, quicksand, and
Hmm.
Mario 3 had quicksand. The latest thing, the newest entertainment piece that I've seen with quicksand in it was that Dora the Explorer movie that came out a few years ago.
Oh, all right.
Live action. They fall into quicksand. And then
Okay.
Dora teaches him how to get out. She's like, just lie on your back and kind of float out, and then you should be able to pull your arms out. I don't know if it's true, but I guess if I ever encountered quicksand,
Well,
I'll do that. I'll try it.
I would trust Dora over anyone else.
Yeah, she seemed to know what she was doing about
Y-
everything else
Yeah.
in nature. It's a really good movie. You didn't watch that movie?
I didn't see that movie, but when I did live in Tacoma, Washington, my roommate had a child that I used to
Yeah.
take care of, and I would bring her to daycare. But before we would go to daycare, we would watch Dora the Explorer and the Wiggles.
Okay.
And we would leave we would miss the last 5 minutes of the Wiggles and get in the car and go.
The Wiggles had some good musical acts. I've seen videos
That
with like Kylie Minogue on it and
that
different,
was
so
a
like all
great
these
way to
British
start the morning.
musicians. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like Yo Gabba Gabba. Yo Gabba Gabba was like the Wiggles of the USA. Like
Okay.
cool musicians doing stuff for kids. That
Hmm.
was good. Down Dora, I never liked Dora the cartoon, but the movie's pretty good, live action.
Oh, okay. What do you have against Dora?
Which is just I don't know, something about her. Just
Staring
staring blankly at
staring out
you.
of the TV, waiting for
Yeah.
you to answer.
Yeah, and they make a joke about that like in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Like they kind of get over
Oh,
that real quick, you know. But
okay. All right. Well, I'll have to watch that movie.
yeah, it's pretty good.
Because I was a Dora fan. I enjoyed watching it with my companion,
Yeah.
my,
See,
my
that's the
morning
thing.
companion.
Once you have kids or you have nieces, nephews, that kind of stuff, you watch a lot of stuff. You know
Yeah.
what's really cool is the Teletubbies. There's a real trippy show.
Yeah, I never really watched them.
Could you imagine having a television in your belly? Just watch stuff.
Well, it would be convenient. Well, hey, we practically have
Yeah,
one.
you're right. Yeah, we're all Teletubbies now.
All we have to do is mention that we might want to buy a wagon.
Yeah,
And
it's gonna
later
pop
when I
up.
go on to Facebook, there'll be ads for wagons.
Yeah, it's true. Just the other day, I bumped into a friend of mine at a kid's soccer game. He was there watching his nephew. I was there watching my daughter. And we were talking, and he was saying he wanted to buy a pool table for his basement. So as
Uh-huh.
I got home, I opened up Marketplace, and guess what? All these pool tables showed up. I'm
Wow.
like, no, that wasn't me, man. That was the other dude. I'm not looking for a pool table. It's kind of
So,
creepy.
your podcast.
Hmm.
Now, this is one thing that I'm a little confused about.
Oh, it's really confusing.
Is it Roddy Radio, Roddy TV? When is it Roddy Radio? When is it Roddy TV?
Roddy TV is a channel. It's always been my
Okay.
YouTube channel. And that's
Okay.
where the first thing I published on Roddy TV was a short series called Chicanos in Cars Getting Tacos,
Okay.
which was a parody of comedians in cars getting coffee.
All right.
And it was the thing that happened with that was first my a friend of mine and me used to watch that when it first came out on its own website. You know, Jerry Seinfeld just put it out independently. And then they bought those and ordered more on Netflix. And we're like excited, hey, they're gonna make more. They're on Netflix. And that day we went out to eat, so I just pulled out my phone and recorded us and said, "Hey, this is Chicanos and Cars Getting Tacos." And it was just gonna be like it was just for fun. Like I didn't think anything of it. I uploaded it, shared it on my Facebook. I started getting people hitting me up, hey, let's film a thing, let's go get tacos. And so next thing I know, I had 10 episodes
Oh,
of
wow.
that.
Okay.
And then we were going to start a season two. COVID hit, everything's shut down. We couldn't go eat anywhere.
Hmm.
And then I just had this idea of doing a podcast brewing. And so that's when I started the Spanish podcast, Alta Red. That turned into a video podcast. So I just put it on YouTube, still used it, Roddy TV Presents. And
Okay.
now that I'm doing this podcast in English, it was supposed to just be audio, so it was kind of just a joke, like, okay, well, it's not TV because there's no video component to it, so it's Roddy Radio. But now it's kind of slowly turning into a video podcast again, which I hate because I hate editing videos. But like, I hate the process, but I love the result.
Right.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
And I have the program that I use is been supplementing itself with a bunch of AI, and I bought this like add-on to it, and I can't figure out what I actually bought. And
Mine's pretty simple, and I try just to do all my clips. If I do get overwhelmed with work and stuff, I will, and I have been guilty of using AI for my clips.
okay.
I use sometimes I turn to Opus Clip, where you just put in your video, the link to your video, and it gives you a bunch of clips all ready to go. You choose the ones you want to post.
Oh,
But
nice.
but I try not to do that. But sometimes, if I just got a lot of stuff going on, I do. But I
Hmm.
try to do my own clips because I feel like, and I feel like you can tell, and maybe it's just me, but I feel like you can tell the ones that are AI and the ones that I do are, specifically catered to my type of humor, the type of stuff we're trying to do on the show,
Right. Okay.
which isn't like anything else, which is why I'm not too bothered when it doesn't have a lot of views. I'm like, I know it's good.
Hmm.
It's just not reaching the right people. But it's there forever, so people can
Yeah.
discover it. Which is why I don't do like news or I avoid doing newsy stuff because it's like I want it to be evergreen. I want you to be able to find this 10 years later and still get a kick out of it.
Still be able to listen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not doing good tonight. My brain isn't working.
Drugs.
Uh, no, I did that a
You wish
long.
you were.
Yeah, get some benefit. What was I just gonna ask you? Oh man.
Do you think pot is a drug?
Do I think pot is a drug?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a drug.
You think so?
I mean, it changes your perception, you know. Um, now that is marijuana legal in Idaho?
I think we're the last state. Maybe Utah also, but I
So
think
it's not.
it's not. We're the last state
Okay.
to be not legal.
Um, because years ago, a friend of mine made pot brownies, and
Mhm.
I really enjoyed that because marijuana has always made me very paranoid. Um, and it just now that there's gummies around and edibles and things like that, and it's legal, um, I like to take a sliver of a gummy. I can't take the whole thing because I don't like that feeling of being
Just
high
mess you up.
anymore. Yeah,
Mhm.
but I can take a sliver and it takes the edge off and it helps me sleep.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean when you think about a plant like the marijuana plant, and in the same family, hemp. I mean, I mean, if God made a plant, He made that plant.
Yeah.
You know,
Multi-use, multi-purpose.
it's
It doesn't,
multi-use, multi-purpose. It's medicinal.
yeah.
Uh, I mean, I mean, I think it was made illegal because it was such an all-around cheap solution to a lot of problems that
Yeah,
people
yeah.
wanted to use petroleum to solve.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
See, that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. Um, so how would you describe your podcast?
In its simplest form, it's comedy, it's variety. You know, I was always growing up, I was always a big fan of like variety shows on Mexican television. There was a show from Mexico City called El Calabozo, which was kind of a public access kind of show. I love Wayne's World. I love the movies.
Hmm.
But I also loved, like Late Night with Conan O'Brien, um, those kind of shows. David Letterman a little bit less, but I liked him also. And then Tom Green did a late night show. I like that. So a lot of that was kind of the influence. So it's
Okay.
a show I want to be flexible enough to where we can be a little bit more off the wall, but also be able to sit down and have a guest and have a point to it. But pretty
Hmm.
much anything that's entertaining goes, you know. So
Yes. Yeah.
so it's hard to describe, but I
Well,
try not to have two episodes back to back that are similar. I guess there's
Okay.
that too.
Well, I would like to compliment you. You have a perfect broadcasting voice.
Thank you. Thank you. That comes from years of working in call centers.
Okay.
Yeah. You learn
Uh,
how to project and use, to just use your voice.
hmm And your podcast is very easy to listen to.
I try to
Um,
make it that way. Yeah.
yeah. And I've got to get back to the gym myself, and I've been making it a point to either listen to you or Gritty at the
That's cool.
gym,
Hell yeah.
because with the schedule the way it is, I'm just not listening to a lot like I used to.
Yeah.
You know.
See, I listen a lot at work. I just listen to music and podcasts all day, every day.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
keep up on stuff.
Oh, that's
That's
yeah,
what I
that
like about this job. Isn't too much. I don't use my brain a whole lot. It's
right,
just
yeah.
mostly my body. So in my mind, I'm doing all sorts of other stuff while I'm doing.
Well, I'm cracking myself up right now in my own head
Why is that?
because I'm a chaplain.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
like somebody's I'm bedside with somebody and they start sobbing and I'm like, could you hold on to that for a second?
While
I
you're
didn't
cracking up,
I didn't hear what Roddy just said.
you're listening to some of our dirty jokes, dirty, filthy jokes. Yeah, and I don't know. I just really like the community we've built as far as the podcast goes. Like you said, with Gritty, I know you guys through him. We all try to collaborate as much as possible. I've had, from your guys' camp, I've had you, I've had Mo, I've had the Queen of the Filth on. I've had Gritty on. It's like it's just, and then here locally, it's like, I mean, I'm wearing this shirt right now. My homies from Oblivion, they help out a lot. They're a local thrash metal band.
Okay.
One of those guys is pretty much, he's a regular, practically a co-host. Him and his friend showed up. It's funny, they had to do a project for school where they had to record a podcast, so they asked me to help them with that.
Oh,
And so I
nice.
did, and it went so well that they came in again and again, and so now they're just part of the show. I've met, artists, local artists. I had a singer named Addie Faith on recently who just released an album, and she's getting pretty big, at least on social media, and she's getting radio play and stuff. We have Maddie Danger, who's a local goth who has over 227,000 followers on Instagram and TikTok and stuff. So she's famous that way. She's become a really good friend now. And of course, the local businesses that always help me out, like even just getting me a spot to record. My friend Maria, who owns a shop in town, she's another regular on the show. I've built a cast of regulars who I can go to,
Oh,
and that keeps the
nice.
variety going. It's like this week it's going to be these guys, this week it's going to be this person, this time we're going to mix it up. This time it's just me and one other person. Next week it might be seven of us on the thing at the same time.
Okay.
So
And
it really helps with the mixing it up.
what platforms are you on?
Right now just on Spotify and YouTube.
Okay.
No,
All
like
right.
that's what I was telling beforehand. I do want to get on. I need to start uploading all the old stuff on Rumble and see how that goes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big fan of the Rumble platform. Um, it can be wonky once in a while, but I think it's worth it.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's especially it's always getting in early on stuff. It's kind of like the Wild West of things. I mean, I remember building when I was in high school, I'd be building websites on geocities.com.
Uh-huh.
I was in journalism class in on the school newspaper for a little bit at the beginning of my high school career. And it was all right, but they kept giving me like sports stories, and I don't like sports stories. I want to do more column work, but they were like, no, that's more for the seniors. I'm like, this is lame. And so I stopped doing that and I just set up my own website where I did my own columns about just silly stuff that I would pick up around the school or focus on a certain student. Like there's this kid named Cody who we called Bob because he was a newer kid. We didn't know his name. So like I photoshopped his picture from the yearbook and like put horns on him and stuff. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
here's Bob is actually Satan himself, and here's why I think. And it was like this long article on how I thought, just silly stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I ended there. I got to the point where like I had friends that were collaborating that would write stuff up and we would post it, and it was like, we're like the alternative press right now because
Uh-huh.
that's what it felt like. It was back in you'd set up a free website with geocities.com,
Right, right.
and it was fun.
Yeah,
But
it was. And the internet was different
yeah,
then. There
Yeah,
was
very different.
a lot of free stuff, and you could just go out there and there'd be like free like Java programs and things like
Hmm.
that that you could stick in your website and just make it
Yeah.
work on your own. And
I was surprised at how much I learned at the time. I remember I found a script for a game where it was like ask, I can't remember, maybe it was like a crystal ball thing or something. You would ask it
uh-huh.
something and they would have a randomized like 100 answers they would give you. And I was able to switch that to where it was my friend Matt, who we called Pat, because a substitute teacher accidentally called him Pat, and then we just called him Pat forever after that. And so it was like Ask Pat, and it put his picture on it instead of the stupid crystal ball. And I
Uh-huh.
added all like a 50 or 100, whatever it was, answers that I came up with. And you could ask him anything, and it would answer you. I'm like, how, like, I can't even fathom doing something like that now, but I apparently did that, 20
Yeah,
years ago. It was the Wild West of the internet for sure. It
it
was great.
was. Yeah. And I taught myself HTML.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I was, then I found the sites where you could just, download code and, make a website and do some really cool stuff with it.
Yeah, and you could kind of figure out where in the code, if you switch this, it's going to do this
Yeah,
thing. It
yeah,
was cool. It was awesome.
it was a lot of
And
fun. Yeah, internet used to be a lot of fun.
now it's easy enough to upload all these incredible things that take up so much more data than those websites did back then.
Yeah, yeah.
But
When you had me on your show, we talked about Donald Trump came up,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
had said
that was in the before time.
before, yeah, and you had said that your life had changed when he was president the last time. Would you like to share that with the audience?
Yeah, yeah, like what I was telling you about on that show was our specifically our racist neighbors that had their big flags up with the Trump on them, or the Blue Lives Matter, or the fuck Joe Biden flag. All these things coming from apparently very hardcore Christians, because that's a very Christian thing to say is, fuck the president. Um, but they got their anger started ironically enough because we were building a fence around our property, and they had a camper parked in between our houses that was, it was taking up some of our spot. And so I
Uh-huh.
got the survey and I said, hey, please move your camper. We're going to build a fence. And he got super angry about that, started calling us spics and, all sorts of other slurs. And he wouldn't move it. So I had to call the cops. They made him move it. And then, we finally put that, it was just a chain link fence. Just, we're not hardcore, we just don't want dogs pooping in our yard.
Hmm.
And so a few days later, that side of the fence where his camper used to be, it's like squashed down, like he stepped on it.
Oh
And
God.
then of course he's denying it. And so I put up a security camera, and so that pisses him off. So I got video of him flipping us off on the camera and calling us spigs and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And that was like at very early into the presidency, and that was only the tip of the iceberg. They started getting real ballsy, and so did a lot of other people in our neighborhood, in our city, driving around with the flags on their trucks and yelling at us, yelling to go back to Mexico, calling us names, asking us stupid questions like, when was the Declaration of Independence? Stupid shit that they probably don't even know
Uh-huh.
themselves. And, it just made it very uneasy to go out and be in public in that time. And that's
Right.
why I'm like, as far as politics goes, both Democrats and Republicans are going to screw me specifically over. I'm never going to get ahead as long as we're under one of those regimes. But at least under the Democrats right now, I wouldn't be bothered by, the people that get really brave when the leader himself is a grand wizard or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's why I didn't want him to win.
Okay.
And it was very rough on me to be so public about it. I was very vocal about it. Like I said, I don't like doing period stuff on the show because I want it to be evergreen. But there was that period of time when we were talking about that stuff because it was important to me. The only thing that sucked was a lot of people assumed I'm a Democrat. And it's like, no, no, no. I'm just, what's wrong is wrong is the only
Hmm.
thing.
Yeah. And When you told me that, it gave me a perspective that I'm glad that I was exposed to.
Hmm.
Um, and this whole election, and I haven't been doing politics on the show because at one point over the summer, I had a near breakdown over, I
Yeah,
forgot what it was.
it was just getting too heavy for everybody, I
Yeah,
think.
but and like right now, I have a colleague that is trans.
Hmm.
That is very fearful of what's going to happen under the Trump administration. And then there's me, and who I've been anti-war my whole adult life, and Trump seems to be the best choice, at least to end one of the wars.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to happen, but I've gotten to the point where I am so resentful of the Democratic Party, their sanctimonious posturing and virtue signaling, lying, their militarism, uh, but then on the other hand, the other choice stands to affect people that I care about negatively,
Hmm. Yeah.
and it's like there's no choice.
No, no. The other choice is it's going to help Americans, but it's going to choose who is an American and who isn't.
Yeah.
And it's only going to be a very certain few, and a lot of us are cut out of that.
And when you try to have these conversations with people, especially people who are voting Democrat, in my experience,
Yeah.
uh, people get very upset very quickly
Yeah.
because you're having the conversation, and then you're like, "Would you please just stop for a minute and understand that we all live in New York? Our electoral college votes are going to the Democrat.
Hmm.
And if you live in my congressional district, the Democrat's going to win. So I can say whatever I want. I can vote for whoever I want, and it's not going to make a damn bit of difference."
Yeah.
And people are saying, I'm wasting my vote to vote for third parties, and I'm like, I'm wasting my vote. I'm wasting my time going to the polls.
Right. Which is why I never voted. Even back when I could vote, I never voted for that reason. Is because I noticed very early on, it must have been my first legal to vote election, which was, I believe, Bush the second term, maybe. Who did he run the second time against? Was it John Kerry?
John Kerry, yeah, what
Yeah,
he was an impressive candidate.
yeah, but but I believe that was the first time. But that's when I noticed that they were already announcing the winner on the television before the polls were even closed here in Idaho.
Okay.
Because we're one of the last states out here out west. So it's like, what? Like, I might be on my way to the poll and you're already telling me who the next president is. What's the point?
Hmm.
So I just never voted.
Right. What do you think would make the country better nationally?
At this point, I think it's time for us on this side to accept that he won and to try to find representatives that will be able to work with that side and admit that we're not going to win many battles, but try to win as many as we can. Try to
Right.
get as many rights protected as we can, and call it good. As Do as much as we can and call it good. What else? What else is there to do at this
Right.
point? Hopefully, there is some good stuff. As the anti-war stuff and supposedly the economy, all this stuff that I don't believe in at all. But But hopefully I'm proven wrong and all that goes good. And hopefully
Hmm.
we don't all lose all our rights the way he's promising. That's the only thing I can grasp onto is that for the most part, any politician's going to promise something and they don't follow through with it. The
Yeah,
only scary part is that everything Trump has said, he has pretty much followed through on. I mean, even just him announcing his presidency way back when, 10 years ago, and us thinking it's a joke, and next thing we know, he's the president.
yeah,
What I want to know too, and this is kind of off the topic maybe a little bit, but what happened to those millions of dollars raised for the wall, for the border wall?
yeah.
Because there is no border wall. There's a little kid that raised over $1 million in a GoFundMe. What happened to that money?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question.
I want to raise money for the wall and keep the money. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, now to answer that question I just asked you, I'm taking my lead from the people from Black in the Empire and Sabrina Selbati, Sabby Sabs. I don't know if you've encountered her online, but and there's other people who feel the same way. Jimmy Dore might feel the same way. That electoral politics really aren't going to change anything, because pretty much the elections are already predetermined,
Yeah,
depending on which way the wind is blowing. And so people on the ground need to find more ways to be able to talk to one another and to engage in actions of mutual aid
yeah.
for one another.
If the government crumbles, it's not going to be the end of the world.
Right.
There's another thing.
Yeah.
Might bring some chaos, but it also is going to bring some good, I think.
Yeah, and,
Is
and the funny thing is that at any time in my life, I'm not advocating it, but I'm more open to anarchy than I ever have been.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I saw a meme a while back that said when you're 15 years old and you discover the dead Kennedys, you turn into this big anarchist and everything the dead Kennedys are right, and you become very militant and everything sucks and it's all about anarchy. And
Yeah,
then in your twenties, you say, well, they're cool concepts, but I don't know how applicable they can be. Good music, but I don't know if I'm going to base anything off that.
yeah.
Then you get into your mid 30s and you're like, okay, maybe the dead Kennedys were right. And we should just go full on anarchy again. And that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I had the Dead Kennedys in vinyl, about 15 years old, with the little starving child's hand
So
in
that
a.
black hand, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
striking image.
yeah, but it is. And what was that guy's name? Is it Jello
Jello
Biff
Biafra? I'm actually not sure how
Biafra?
to pronounce that. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to have this CD. It was a free speech CD, and I had all these different speeches by different people, and one of them was Jello, and he describes this scene where the FBI raided his apartment, and he said, "Well, I just want to tell each and every one of you that if I've met you even for a few seconds and I got your phone number, it was in my phone book. So if you ever gave me your phone number, the FBI now has your phone number."
True story, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Is he talking about that? Did that probably really happen? Was that with the whole Tipper Gore
Yeah, I'm not
parental
sure why
advisory,
he
all that
got
stuff?
raided. I don't remember,
It might
but
have been that. I mean, I'm not too versed in that, but I know there was a lot going on with the censorship of his art.
yeah. When you think back on different things in the past, like Tipper Gore, was waging, you know, this campaign against lyrics, explicit
Yeah.
lyrics. I mean, and at the same time, uh, what were they called? Two Live Crew
Yeah.
came out
Two
with that
Live Crew.
song "Me So Horny,"
Me so. Yeah, every single one of their songs is super filthy, man. It's great, you
and
know.
I never would have bought that album if Tipper hadn't been there.
It's the parental advisory sticker thing. When I was growing up, every CD that you wanted had that parental advisory sticker.
Uh-huh.
And it got to the point where some artists would put that on there, even if their music they had no swear words, there was no sex in it, but they knew it would help them
It
sell.
would help him sell it, yeah.
One of the perfect examples of that is a band, I don't know if you know them, Cake.
Oh yeah, I
Their
know Cake.
their album Prolonging the Magic has a parental advisory sticker. Tell me
That's
why.
right.
They don't swear in it.
That's
There's no
true.
sex in it. There are some provocative themes, perhaps. Satan is
Hmm.
my motor, Alpha Beta Parking Lot. All those songs are provocative. They make you think, but they're not like, kill your parents kind of
Right,
music.
yeah.
But I think it was just slapped on there so I would buy it. And it worked. I bought that CD. I bought it like
Uh-huh.
twice.
So for this last segment, um, you're an atheist.
Yes.
So there's no God.
Yeah. I don't know if I would say atheist because everybody always asks, tells me, so you don't believe in God.
Uh-huh.
And it's not so much that I don't believe, because if to me, not believing means it exists. Like I don't believe in the government. I don't believe in the Mexican soccer team, but they still exist. I just don't believe they're any good. I
Okay.
just know that there is no God. There is
Okay.
no higher power being. I think there's a God and a devil inside of all of us, and we're all capable of evil. We're all capable of good. I strive
Okay.
to be good.
So what would you say is the driving philosophy of your life?
Just that, try to be good. Honestly, there's nothing after this. There was nothing before it. When I'm gone, some people might remember. So
Hmm.
hopefully they remember me fondly. But if they don't, I'm not going to be aware of it because I will no longer exist. So I think it's just there's to me, there's no point in life. When people ask why are we here?
Uh-huh.
No reason, no particular reason. But that's no reason to be uncomfortable. That's no reason to make other people uncomfortable. We're here. There's nothing else we can do about it. Let's just, do our best.
Yeah, yeah. So well, everybody who might be listening that's seen the show before knows that I disagree 100%.
Well,
I
you're a
do believe in
pastor.
God.
I
I'm a
always assumed,
pastor.
I always thought you were like undercover and actually hardcore Satanist or something.
But in the tradition of hospitality.
And that's the thing, I don't, and I was talking about this, I believe, on the episode that's coming out this week. I was saying, did you ever watch a show? You're probably about the right age for it. A show called Highway to Heaven.
Oh yeah, I saw a couple episodes.
That show's great. And I just, I pulled up YouTube one day and it was, the thing was on there, the thumbnail. And my mom saw it and she said, I used to watch that show. It's really good. And now we're almost done with the series and it's such a heartstring puller. And I love watching it, this angel being sent on missions by God to help people in every episode. And then I just watched this, just this tearjerker of a movie called Lucy Shimmers and the Prince of Peace.
Uh-huh.
I love watching Christian media and Jesus and God, and I love listening to Bible stories and stuff. But, I mean, to me, it's like watching a Marvel movie. It's a great piece of
Hmm.
literature that we can get a lot of emotion and a lot of good lessons from. But
Uh-huh.
it doesn't mean it was stuff that really happened. But
Okay.
and people find it odd that I watch this stuff, but I'm like, I love it. I sit there and cry through a whole movie. It's
Hmm.
like, it's great.
And Highway to Heaven was Michael Landon, right?
Michael Landon, yeah, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
the other guy, the other guy's funny, the big
Yeah,
bearded guy.
yeah. They acted together in a Little House on the Prairie too.
Yeah, yeah,
That was
yeah,
really I mean that was a tremendous project.
yeah.
Little House on
There,
the Prairie.
Yeah, and then when they did this one too, they have, you'd be surprised how many big artists from back in the day. There's like episodes with Dick Van Dyke on it and stuff. And then people that weren't famous yet. And you see what's his name that shoot, on the tip of my tongue, the feller that passed away that used to be in Fast and the Furious.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He was on a couple episodes. He was a young boy and he had cancer in one of the
Oh, all
episodes.
right.
And then he came back as another character in
Uh-huh.
another episode.
Yeah,
So it's cool
yeah.
to see like these up and coming faces of Hollywood.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, that's another reason why I don't like saying I'm atheist because people just assume I'm going to be militant. I'm going to try to prove to you that there is no God. I don't care what you think.
Okay.
I just know what I know, and I want to be able to enjoy Highway to Heaven.
Right. Right. And I think we'll probably be in agreement on this is that when you do take a libertarian view on you pursue what makes you happy, you do you,
Mhm.
as long as it does not interfere with
Yeah, with
with
what you're
me,
trying to do.
then go ahead.
Yeah,
There's so people are there's so many people in each other's business, um, and people have expectations that you're going to come alongside of them automatically because you know them or this and that, and it's like, look at I don't. I support you doing what you want to do, but it doesn't mean that I have to stand alongside you and support it.
yeah, exactly,
You know.
exactly. And I think, and we've spoken about it a tiny bit, but I mean, I like to back up my thoughts with the fact that I used to be, yeah, I used to go to church so much I actually paid attention. And that's when I stopped a lot of the beliefs just because, so, it's like it's not unfounded. And I think you and I have a very similar upbringing with the Catholicism and stuff.
Mm,
So it's interesting to see how someone that has a very similar upbringing can go one direction, one the other. But again, as long as I'm not hindering you and you're not hindering me, we can still be friends.
right, right. And so, again, in the spirit of hospitality, I thought that we would end the episode by celebrating an atheist Christmas.
Yeah. So I'm talking about. You
So,
like my trees?
yeah, I like
My
your
Christmas trees?
trees. Um, the thing about it is that I mean, I would figure an atheist Christmas would be no presents.
Um,
Yeah,
no gifts or no presents of like being present.
no gifts.
Thought you were gonna do like a little wordplay thing, like there's no presence of the
No
soul.
presents of the Lord. And I got the notification today that your atheist Christmas present was delivered by Amazon and left at your front door. So
Mhm.
I assume you got it.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't there. It was nothing.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, that's about how Amazon delivers anyway.
That's right, right, right. And so I thought I would sing some atheist Christmas carols.
Oh, great. I'm excited for this.
Okay, all right. So, so the first one is the non-existent Noel.
Oh, okay.
The non-existent Noel, the atheist did say, let's go down to McDonald's because atheists only eat empty calories. Oh, empty calories clogging our hearts so our faithless bodies can be cremated. No, Noel, no, Noel. No, Noel, no, Noel. Born is some random kid in a world with no God.
I like that. The thing I find great about it is that you didn't say a single thing that was untrue.
Okay. And,
Everything was true.
so atheists do eat empty calories?
That's all I have.
Okay, all
That's
right.
all. So just have that beer.
So that must have been God guiding me as I was writing it.
You start seeing all these little what do they call it? Like not oxymorons, but just these ironic things. Like,
Yeah.
man,
I've
I
been
always,
cracking
I
I've been
always when
cracking
people
myself up
ask,
all week.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. When people ask me, I always say, "Oh, I thank God I'm an atheist."
Okay. So here's the next one. And hopefully I'll keep the tune on this one.
You should get a pitch pipe.
Yeah. Dashing through the snow in a 96 horsepower Isuzu pickup, or the cemeteries we go because we have no respect for the dead. Bells on bobtails ring, making our absence of spirit bright. Oh, what fun it is to ride and sing about a cruel and random world tonight. Oh, me. I was created randomly in the back of a 96 horsepower Suzu. Me. How's that?
I like that. But is like the original Jingle Bells, is that very religious though?
It's no, it's just a
There's no real
Christmas. Yeah.
because I like songs. I like the religious Christmas song,
Okay, all right.
like the one the Three Kings one. Yeah,
Are we three kings of Orient are?
Three Kings of Orient. Hell yeah, that's a heck of a
Yeah.
tune.
It is. Yeah, that's a good is that the one that the Bare Naked Ladies sing?
Yes, with the acoustic guitars.
Yeah, they go like down into like the fifth or sixth verse that no one's ever sang in their life, and
Yeah,
it talks about Jesus being in the stone cold tomb, and that's
yeah,
the
it's
only reason
great
why I know that verse exists is because the Bare Naked Ladies
because of
sang
them.
it.
It's a great, and it's just a great melody. I remember there was like a Spanish version we used to sing at church all the time.
Okay.
And that's something I loved about church was the singing in Christmas time. It was all the cool songs came out.
Yeah. All right.
You got some more up your sleeve?
I have two more. This one might be really rough. I'm going to do my best. Hark the herald, the atheists sing, glory, glory, Gloria, Gloria. You're always on the run now, running after somebody. You gotta get him somehow. I think you've got to slow down before you start to blow it. I think you're headed for a breakdown, so be careful not to show it. You really don't remember. Was it something that he said? All the voices in your head calling Gloria.
It's great. You know, it was a curveball when you started saying Gloria. I thought you were going to start shouting Gloria. Thought you were going to go that route.
No, I went this other route.
Well, beautiful either way.
You know, I really never knew the all the words to the first verse of Gloria. She sounds like she's mentally ill.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I think any girl that deserves a song has at least is at least on some spectrum. You know what I mean?
true. Gonna co-sign that with no thought. So I thought this would be the perfect way to end this segment of the Atheist Christmas with these atheist Christmas songs. This song, I put in some parameters into Chat GPT.
Oh, so you're doing the AI cheating also.
This atheist Christmas song was written by AI.
The most godless thing there is right now.
Joy to the world, the facts are clear. Let reason rule the day. No myths or tales, just science prevails, and logic lights our way,
Logic lights
and
our
logic
way.
lights our
Logic
way,
lights our way.
and logic lights
Lights
our
our way.
way.
That was great. I
Wasn't that
like that
great?
one. That's like the easiest. I mean, it's a cheap shot on the part of AI because that's the easiest song to pull a Weird Al on. Because I remember like as kids we'd always sing like "Joy to the world, the teacher's dead. I shot off her head. What happened to her bottomus? It looks like a hippopotamus, and round it goes, you know. It's real easy to
That's
make in your
great.
songs.
I wish we learned that when I was a kid.
You know, you don't want to really kill a teacher, but it's a hell of a tune.
Right, yeah, but I mean that's stuff that we used to know as kids. I mean, th- there there's this thing that we used to do that I mean is very politically incorrect now. And my sister absolutely forbade me to teach my niece and my nephew. You think back on it, and it just makes you laugh, like the times have changed and like we were exposed to this stuff when we were kids. And we would just giggle because it was hilarious.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
There's a lot of things like that, and you don't learn until you're around, you know, a family, like you said, your nieces and nephews. Me with my nieces and my daughters, it's like maybe some of the stuff I did wasn't so funny.
right, right, yeah.
Like once you start saying it out loud in a new context, it's like, wait a minute.
To
I
to
thought it
to
was hilarious though.
yes, to show how much times have changed. Now, I did not do this, but this is what was done at my high school. Is the Key Club to raise money would have a slave auction.
Oh,
Yeah.
did they sell off just the black kids or the
No,
Jews
no,
also?
no. It was mostly white kids.
Oh, okay.
There was one of my friends was Jewish, and he came to me and he says, "You have to buy me." And I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "Because I know that there's a plan for some guys on whatever team he was on that they were going to buy him and they were going to just
Mess
pu
them up.
pummel him because he
What
was
was that,
Jewish."
that's what I was gonna ask. What was like if you bought someone, what did that mean? What did
You're
that
supposed to
entitle you
do
to?
whatever they tell you to do
For how long?
for the day.
Oh, okay.
And so I outbid these people that were going to make his life a living hell. And then so the next day he's like, um, well, I'm not going to do anything. I'm like, what do you mean you're not going to do anything? You got to do at least one thing. I made him carry my friend Allison from the A wing to the C wing as
I think you
she.
should have made his life a living hell. That would just taught him a lesson, you
Well, I mean, what lesson was going to teach him? He was fearing for, he was fearing for his safety, his
know.
well-being, and his dignity.
Well, yeah, the lesson was sometimes you just can't escape your fate, you know.
I guess I don't know. I mean, yeah, I thought I had done a good thing, and Allison did a great job because she had a plushie in her hand and she was kissing his face as they were going
Um,
through the hallways,
cute.
and yeah.
What when did they stop doing this?
I don't know. I graduated in 1985 and they were still doing it.
It's crazy.
So
Slave auction.
yeah, I as like just like off the we were talking about something and I came out with that to my pastor when I was in the AME church, and he looks at me and he goes, "Richard," and I'm like, "Oh my God, yeah."
That's what I'm saying.
That
That's
was
what
very
that's
awkward.
that you don't realize these things until you say them out loud, and it's
Yeah,
like, wait a
yeah,
minute, like maybe we should rethink some of these things. But we can't change the past. We can only move forward.
right,
You know?
yeah. So, Roddy, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Pastor. I'm glad I was able to listen to some music today, to
Yes.
learn some words, to really be in touch with my faith.
And Merry Atheist Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas with a capital Christ to you.
Thank you very much.
Are you going to end the show with a prayer? Do you still do that?
No, I don't do that
Why
anymore.
don't you do that anymore? Are you because you're atheist, huh?
Yeah, I'm a secret agent, remember? I don't know. There was talk about keeping things separate. Um
Talk on
because
who did your bosses tell you to not do it or what?
no, well, it wasn't my boss.
I mean, I know your boss is the big guy above, but I
Yeah.
mean like your terrestrial bosses.
So my bishop was talking about uh telling, and reminding us to be careful what we posted on social media as far as politics and mixing church and politics. Because there is legislation on the books that they could take away churches' uh, tax exempt status if it's perceived that the church is promoting a certain political candidate or party or whatever, what have you. And I kind of voluntarily, in my head, said the No Name Yet podcast is a secular endeavor, and that the iron sharpens iron.
Oh, is that why you
Epis
started doing that
Yeah,
kind of a separate kind of
episodes
thing?
are for religion and faith.
My favorite part about you ending with prayer was when you would do that with Justin with old Sim Fuckus on.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't pay attention and he wouldn't say amen like everybody else. It was
No,
great.
no, it would just go right through him.
That was the best. I love Justin, man.
Yeah, yeah. Um, this past summer, I finally got to meet Justin in person,
In person, yeah, yeah.
and
How was that?
it was one of the best days of my entire life.
Justin's a living legend, man. I mean, I
Yeah,
feel incredibly just lucky to know him and to have gotten to know him over the last couple of years.
yeah,
That's we were talking about the wild west of the internet. Like he's like one of the very first
yeah. He's
memes,
one of
if
the
you will.
pioneers,
Yeah, one of the very first like people to blow up to go viral.
right?
So it's just it's just incredible to see him now.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. We got to do this again. You got to come on my show again someday,
All right, I'd love
and
to.
uh, and we'll set that up sometime soon.
All right. Good night.
All right.